Hi everybody. In this video we are going to talk about different types of events, and the definitions that we will be talking about in this video are going to be useful for us in another video when we talk about the sum rule and the product rule of probability. But right now let's just look at the definitions here, the vocabulary, and understand what they mean. So two events are mutually exclusive if they cannot happen at the same time. Let's look at some examples. Which of the following events are mutually exclusive? So they cannot happen at the same time. A marble is blue or yellow. So imagine that we have a box here with different colored marbles, but each marble is just one color. We don't have any marbles that are a mix of colors. Is it possible for a marble to be blue and yellow at the same time if each marble is just one color? No, that's not possible, and therefore these two events are mutually exclusive. Remember, two events are mutually exclusive if they cannot happen at the same time. So these cannot happen at the same time, so they are mutually exclusive. I'm going to circle this over here. Okay, a person is female or the President of the United States. Is it possible for a person to be female and President of the United States at the same time? Yes, that is possible. It hasn't happened yet. For the record, I'm making this video in the year 2021. Hasn't happened yet, but I think will happen soon enough. So that can happen at the same time, and therefore those events are not mutually exclusive. Okay, remember, to be mutually exclusive, it means they cannot happen at the same time. If they can happen at the same time, then they are not mutually exclusive. Next example, the time it takes a person to run around the bases in a baseball field is less than 20 seconds, or greater than 20 seconds. So imagine that we have a person running around the bases in a baseball field, starts at home plate, then he runs to first base, second base, third base, and then back to home plate, okay? And one outcome is that he runs around those bases in less than 20 seconds. Another outcome is that he runs around the bases in more than 20 seconds. Is it possible for both of those things to happen? No, he can't run around the bases in under and over 20 seconds. So these two things cannot both happen, and therefore they are mutually exclusive. So we will circle that one. Next example, the time it takes a person to run around the bases in a baseball field is less than 20 seconds or greater than another person. So the first person, one outcome is that the first person ran around the bases in less than 20 seconds, and the other outcome is that that person ran around the bases and it took him more than it took another person. Can both of those things happen? Yeah, it's possible for you to get to be really fast and to run around the bases in less than 20 seconds, but for somebody else to also be really fast, and in fact faster than you, and it took you longer than the other person. So both of those things can happen at the same time, so they are not mutually exclusive. Okay, next example, an animal is a dog or a cat. Can an animal be a dog and a cat at the same time? Not in real life, maybe in a science fiction movie, but we're not talking about that right now. So these things cannot happen at the same time, and therefore they are mutually exclusive. And our last example, let me scroll down a little bit, for mutually exclusive events. Oops, now it looks like I changed my answers for everything. Let me do that again. This one was mutually exclusive. Huh? Whoa, that's weird. Oh, okay. This one was mutually exclusive. And this one. Okay, last example. An animal is a dog or a poodle. Can an animal be a dog and also a poodle simultaneously, meaning at the same time? Well, yeah, a poodle is a kind of dog. So an animal can be a dog and also a poodle at the same time. And since that can happen at the same time, these events are not mutually exclusive. Remember, mutually exclusive events mean they cannot happen at the same time. So we only circle it if they cannot happen at the same time. Okay, so now let's move on to dependent and independent events. So two events are dependent if the outcome of one can influence the outcome of the other. Okay, so, all right, and they are independent if the outcome of one cannot influence the outcome of the other. If they have nothing to do with each other, then they're independent. If they do have something to do with each other, then they're dependent. So let's take a look at some examples there. Which of the following events are independent? So they have nothing to do with each other, meaning one thing happening will not affect the other thing in any way. Okay, so I study for my test, so that's one event, okay? And I get a good grade on my test. That's another event. Does studying for a test does it have an effect on the grade that I get on that test? Okay, yes, if you study for a test, you're probably going to get a higher score than if you didn't study. So this, studying for the test, it does influence the outcome of the test, and therefore these two events are dependent, okay? The grade I get on the test depends on whether I studied for the test or not. So these are dependent, they're not independent. Okay, remember, independent means they have nothing to do with each other. Okay, so I'm not going to circle this one because the question said which of the following events are independent. These two events would be dependent. Next example, I study for my test and my friend gets a good grade on his test. Okay, well, me studying for the test has nothing to do with what my friend gets. Okay, we're assuming that we're all good students here and we don't cheat and show the other person. I shouldn't even give you any ideas. I forget I even said that. So if I study for my test, that has nothing to do with the grade that my friend gets. So these two things would be independent, okay? They do not, me studying for my test does not have any influence at all on the grade that my friend gets. Okay, so these are independent events. Next one, it will snow today and my friends and I will go sledding. I like sledding. That's where you take a sled. In case you don't know, you take a sled, walk to the top of a hill, you slide down. It's very fun. I recommend it. Okay, next snow day that we have. So does one of these have an influence over the other? Well, sure. If it snows, then I'm more likely to go outside and go sledding with my friends. If it doesn't snow, maybe it's warm and all the snow has melted, then I'm probably not going to go out sledding with my friends. Or if I do, it's not going to be very fun, right? So this event definitely influences the probability of this event. If this happens, then this will be more likely to happen. And if this does not happen, this will be less likely to happen. So this depends on this. Me going sledding with my friends depends on whether it snowed or not. Okay, so these would be dependent events, not independent events. And finally, it will snow today and my coin will come up heads. So imagine that I have a coin over here. You don't have to imagine it. I'm showing you I do have a coin. I'm rich. I have a quarter. Okay, so if it snows today, is that going to affect the outcome of my coin toss? If it snows outside, am I more likely to get heads now because there was snow coming down outside? No, of course not. One has nothing to do with the other, and therefore these are independent events. The snow does not influence the outcome of that coin toss. So I can circle this. These are independent events here. Okay. Okay, and last two examples. There will be a lot of traffic this morning and I will be late for work. Well, if there's a lot of traffic, then the probability that I will be late for work increases, right? So this definitely does have an effect on this. It influences that. So, so I should not circle those because they are dependent. They're not independent. Remember, independent means they have nothing to do with each other. There will be a lot of traffic this morning and my computer will not work. Well, whether or not there's traffic in the morning when I'm driving to work has nothing to do with whether my computer or not is working when I get there. So these two things have nothing to do with each other, and therefore they are independent. So we will circle those. Okay, so I'm going to end the video there, and have a great day.